Hi, good morning. Welcome to the Business Expert Series with views and opinions on topical issues facing business owners right now. Today, we are with business expert Pauline Sowemimo from Asegun Ltd. How are you doing, Pauline?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good.
Good stuff. Thank you for joining us today. Looking forward to the interview. So, if you could give us a little bit of background as to who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
So, as Mike mentioned, my name is Pauline Sowemimo of Asegun Ltd. Well, I'm a mother of one, a wife of one. For most of my life, this is what I've always wanted to become an accountant.
Yeah.
I've been in the industry for what are we now? 23, over 32 years. I've been in the industry for over 32 years. And I've worked in varying roles. I've worked in government, private sector. But in doing what I'm doing now, I've been doing it seriously for the past 11 years. Though the business was set up in 2003, which is about 20 years ago. But we actually didn't set out to become accountants. The main reason for setting up a business was to help low income earners in terms of buying and selling. So we go to warehouses, buy goods in wholesale prices and sell it to single moms, and those low-income earners. That was the whole idea why we set up the business anyway. But things were not really working out. We end up at times giving out the goods because when we turn out, they didn't have money, and so it wasn't working out. And so I focused on my job. And then fast forward 2012, I left a paid job that I'd been doing for 22 years. For me, it kind of became stagnant.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt if I don't leave that time, I would never leave. And I just wanted to go back to grassroots accounting, really, just to get my hands in, see it from start to finish, rather than troubleshooting and looking at other people's work. So in 2012, obviously, I left my paid job. I didn't have a plan as to what I was going to do, because I wasn't kind of business minded. So I felt maybe I'll take a pause and maybe look for another job. But I didn't have a plan to start a business or anything. So I left January 2012, and I woke up the next morning in the cold sweat because I was thinking, oh my God, what did you do? A good job, paying good money, are you crazy? But you know what? I kind of took a stand back, took time out, traveled, and I kept looking for work. I went on courses. I actually built an extension during that time, but I couldn't find an
extension yourself, or?
Yeah, I actually project managed it. I went on the project management course to know how to project manage, and then I did the extension. It was quite challenging, but I learned a lot of things about myself that I didn't know I had. Resilience, ability to source materials, ability to read designs and things like that. But it was quite interesting, and I'm thinking, wow, this is quite good. This is something I'd never known I could do, because I was thrown in the deep end, and I had to work with a lot of people, builders, building inspectors, all kinds of roofers, all kinds of people. Learning to deal with them, learning to make sure that they don't take me for a ride, learning to make sure that I don't give out the money before the job is done and things like that. So during that time, I was doing that, but still I didn't have money coming in. And I think at home now, my husband is thinking, you need to go get a job. And I'm thinking, I don't want to just jump into another job and then be stuck. I wanted to be sure when I do go through that door, it was something I would like to do for long term. But also for me, it was about giving back to the next generation. We have all these skills, we're getting older, but we got young people coming up behind us. What are we passing on? And so for me, it had to be something I could pass on. It had to be something that would affect somebody else for good. I did a teacher training course, but along the way, I realized that I wanted to impact the youth of our community. And so whatever I went into had to be such that I could pass on the skill. So I still did
accountancy. Sorry, just to say, when did you then do accountancy qualifications as well?
I've always in accounts. So I've done management accounts, financial accounts, budgeting, all the work. So my 22 years was actually doing in finance. And so I was actually managing the transport system, the Oyster and things. So I was there for a while, but in that time I did bookkeeping, I did my qualifications and all whatnot. So here I am with all these fancy qualifications and nobody would employ me. I knocked on doors to actually do volunteer work, nobody, nothing, nada. Nobody would tell me anything. And I'm thinking, the world is big enough, I really tried. And then one day on a course, doing a teacher training, the lecturer said to me, Pauline, you got so much skills, you could actually be teaching this course. Because in the class, I was ending up teaching everybody. And she said, have you thought about setting up your own business? And I looked at her and I'm thinking, nah, I don't know how to price, I don't know how to ask people for money. And she said, you know what, that might be what you need to do. Set up your own business. I'm thinking, how do I get clients? What do I do? But on one day, a friend of mine then started her law practice. And she called me up and she said to me, sis, what are you up to? So I'm thinking nothing. She says, would you do my books? So I'm thinking, I've never done solicitors' books before. And she said to me, we'll find out. That was how it began, not as a business, but helping a friend out.
Yeah.
And I found I enjoyed it. And then I think a year later, she got a call from another bigger firm. And then it dawned on me that now I actually need to fill my professional body up and set myself up and get the practice license and start to seriously think about this. So that was how my husband then said, why not just turn the old business and change the Sikh on Company's House and just brand yourself.
Practice accountancy. Excellent. So how many years have you been, say, practicing accountancy in the current business in its form that it is in?
Yeah, so I started serious in 2012.
Okay.
So which is 11 years now.
What would you say that you've seen in those 11 years are the top mistakes or challenges that you see business owners making with their finances?
I've seen a lot of people, they've got good business sense, but they've got bad financial habits. And so you could have a business that's making a cool £2 million. By the end of it, there's nothing to show for it. They've spent it all. And then it's time to do the accounts and they can't even pay their taxes. So for me, as I keep saying to the young people around me, it's not about how much you make, it's about how you spend what you make, is what you do with it. Because you can be making good money and there's nothing to show for it at the end of it. So I think it's a misconception when people think I need more money. I need more money. Why do you need more money? What do you want to do with that more money? What are you doing with what you have now?
Yeah.
Because the habits you have as a poor man is what you're going to take to the top.
Very true. These are brilliant lessons or bits of knowledge shared. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
So through your eyes as an accountant, what do you see happening over the next year in the economy? Is there anything that kind of you would advise people to look out for, or what's your kind of thoughts on the next year?
I think when I look back at 12 years up to now, the industry has evolved a lot. We've moved from paper to cloud. For me, I think that was actually excellent, because for small businesses, it helped us to grow. But now is ensuring that we don't run too far ahead and leave the very people that you're trying to support behind. So it's working together with the community to understand that, yes, I'm your accountant, but I need you to work with me to help you. Because I think the misconception in the, especially for business owners, they think, oh, I've got an accountant, so now I just leave everything to the accountant.
Yeah.
It's your business at the end of the day. You need to know what's happening and you need to work with your accountants, because you're paying us doesn't mean, well, I always try to explain to people that as much as we're your accountant, we're not actually your staff, we're both professionals. I'm trying to ensure that you stay above the water. So ideally for me in the industries is seeing how we work well with our clients, those in the community, especially the young people, to give them that skill to help them understand that it's not necessarily about more money, it's about what you do with what you have. Because I've seen time and time again, good business sense, they're making good money. It's not that they're not making money, but as I said, they end up spending it on unnecessary things. They're wasting the money because 9 times out of 10, people come through your door and all they want is, I don't want to pay tax. I don't want to pay tax. And I'm thinking, if you don't pay your taxes, what happened in COVID? Everybody was looking to the government. If we don't pay our taxes, how is the government going to help us? The money that the government has comes from us. You know, it comes from us. We are the government employees. And the government is still the highest employer, whether we like it or not. You know, so yeah, so ideally is in the industries is having a platform whereby we can educate those people that are not in the industry to say, you know what, hey, there are actually better ways of doing things to make sure that everybody's fine at the end of the day.
Well, thank you. That leads on to the next question pretty nicely. So maybe a reflection of what you've said. Obviously, you've got a passion for helping young people and passing knowledge on. So what would be your biggest lesson to date since being in business, if there's one that you could pick?
The biggest business is you can't force anybody to do anything. No matter how passionate you are, no matter how what you're saying makes sense, it's still the individual's choice to want to develop, to want to be somebody, because the resources are there, but you can't force people to use it. So I think for me, that's the biggest thing, because I've always thought if the environment is good, if there is resources, everybody can learn. But at the end of the day, it's still your choice. It's still yeah.
A good lesson. Yeah, it sounds like you have learned along the way. So what inspires you to do what you do, Pauline? Again, I could hazard a guess from some of the things you said about helping people and the younger generation passing stuff on, but in your own words, it could be the people that you work with, the team, obviously your clients, customers, the community, your friends, family, anything you read or listen to. Feel free to share your inspiration.
I think for me, when I look at my life, there have been a lot of people that added value to my life. I didn't arrive here by myself. I've got input from so many people, directly, indirectly. So, and my belief is as we go through life, even in the midst of the challenges, you can always look back and help somebody out. So for me, it's always about adding value, you know, bringing out the best in the next person. Because if somebody didn't stop to help me, where would I be today? So I need to take time and pause and stop and help somebody else, no matter how challenging it may be, and to stay the course, you know, because talk is cheap, you know, and we can flog money at things. But I think the true test is when you walk with people, you see them, whether the good, the bad, and the ugly, but you still have to be able in those 3 sets to see something good. It's just like if you take a diamond in its original authenticity form, it's rough, it's nothing to behold, but as you keep on working at it, the beauty comes out. So the same with our young people. I think we forget that we were young ones. And if you threw away the baby with the dirty water, yeah. So that's what kind of keeps me going, that irrespective of the challenges with the young people, I was young once, and somebody tarried with me, so I ought to tarry too.
Thank you. I really like that that inspiration and that share on that. Thank you. And again, sort of lastly, and the last question, it will lead in nicely to that in terms of the impact that you want to have on the business community that you work in. What would you say that is?
For instance, tomorrow we'll be in a room all day long, trying to trash out what HMRC is talking about in terms of MTD, which is making tax digital for income tax. And I think going forward, we need to be able to promote it correctly so that all the individuals are aware of what's about to happen. Right now, it seems to be something we're talking about. People have an idea, but they don't actually know how this is going to play out. So hopefully, before it comes into play in 2024, we've got our game on, and nobody will be caught unawares. And yeah, so it's really us sitting all together to, I suppose what I'm trying to say is no man is an island. As accountants, whether big, small, medium, new in the business, we all have to work together and be singing from the same hymn sheet, so that those that we're trying to serve understand that we're actually trying to help you here. We're not just people that you pay money to. I think there's a misconception in the business world. People kind of, you hear accounting and all they're thinking about is, oh, how much is the fee? There's a lot more work we do behind the scenes that nobody can pay us for. But is sending out a message across the board for people to appreciate that we're actually adding value to you.
Sounds like an education piece as well in terms of what you do across the board, as well as filing those accounts. Pauline, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for chatting with us, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much, Mike. Have a good day.